Margaret, this is a very, very important point, because I suspect there are hundreds, thousands, maybe millions who fall in that same category. And really, it's bondage, because it's saying, I read the law, okay, I do it. That's an old covenant sort of way of looking at it.
It is the
All
old
that thou
covenant.
hast said, Exodus 24, we will do and be obedient. The problem is that without Jesus, you can't do it.
You can't. If you think of the heart, if you think of only the outward performance, many people can do. They don't go out in the world, they don't kill, they don't steal, they don't cheat, they don't tell lies. But what about the heart sins?
Yes.
Anger, envy, jealousy, hatred, resentment, bitterness. I find so many still have the heart sins.
Which, interestingly enough, Margaret, are the sins which plague the church. We're not out drinking, we're not out stealing, we're not out killing folk, but all of these other heart sins are the ones that we tend to take to church with us every single week.
And those are the ones we think, well, we have a lifetime. We'll finally overcome. And in the meantime, we blame them on others. If you do something I don't like, I get upset with you, see? But who is to blame? I blame you.
Yes, yes, yes.
My father blamed everybody for all of his heart sins. We never thought about it that way.
That way, sure, sure.
But if the children didn't do everything the way he wanted and he got angry, it was the children's fault. And so the children carry their own guilt plus the guilt of the parent.
Yes, yes.
It's amazing the guilt that parents put on children. Very sad. And as I share these things anywhere in the world, wherever I go, the people say, yeah, I did that too. And so they get a glimpse of opening their eyes and seeing what they are really doing, excusing the heart sins, which is actually your character.
Yes, yes.
Your thoughts and feelings combined are your moral character. What is the only thing you can take to heaven?
Is your character.
Is your character.
Precisely.
And yet there is anger, there is resentment, there is jealousy, there is lust, there's all these things in people's
Margaret,
lives.
Having pastored for 30 years, that's the same rationale I hear for men who are batterers, who are abusers. Well, you're making me do this, rather than realizing that the fault lies within your own heart. It's a heart that's uncommitted, unsubdued to Jesus Christ. Now, I have to ask you, because this where you are now is looking back, but you grew up with this incorrect notion, married a pastor, went off into ministry, and still didn't have it quite right, did you?
No, nor did my husband. Now, he did at one time have a close experience with God, where he understood experientially, but he didn't understand the science of salvation, and so he lost it. He was in the Air Force during World War II, and he was in England as a medic, and he was a new Adventist, young man, and he realized on this base, I'm either totally for or against God, because there were too many temptations there. And so he decided to take his Bible and the Spirit of Prophecy, the Messages to Young People book, and he spent a lot of time with God. And he was known on the base as a very spiritual person, and people would come to him instead of the chaplain in order to find spiritual help. But then he came back from the war and went to one of our colleges to become a pastor, and now he was with other Adventists, and he sort of let down his guard, and he lost the experience, and and so when I married him, he was still in college, and I realized, even though I didn't understand the way, I realized something is lacking in him. And it wasn't until I started to study and I shared with him what I was finding that he began to realize, she's finding what I lost. And then he too. You see, you can study theology all your life and never break through to a real living connection.